According to one of the oldest texts in Jewish tradition, demons didn't start out as demons. They started out as angels. And what they became, according to the Book of Enoch, is the part of this story almost nobody talks about. The Watcher's offspring are the Nephilim, the giants. Enoch says they turn violent, consuming everything, and are eventually destroyed, killed off in the conflict and the flood that follows. But here's the detail that matters. Because the Nephilim were half angel, half human, only half of them could die. Their bodies, the human half, perish. But their spirits, inherited from angelic fathers, don't. Enoch describes those surviving spirits as leaving the dead giants and continuing on. Homeless on the earth. The text names them directly. These wandering spirits are the origin of what Enoch calls evil spirits, demons. One figure gets singled out above the rest, Azazel. Enoch holds him responsible for teaching humanity how to make weapons of war, and for teaching women metalwork, jewelry, and cosmetics, described in the text as a corrupting influence that leads people away from their created purpose. For this, the angel Raphael is ordered to bind Azazel, throw him into darkness in the desert of Dewdale, and cover him with sharp rocks, held there until a future day of judgment, when he'll be cast into fire. Azazel isn't a demon in Enoch's own sense of the word. He's a watcher, still bound in a body. But later tradition folds him into demonology anyway. And you can see why. The punishment reads exactly like an imprisoned devil. Semihaza the leader. Maros taught how to break spells. Barakajil taught astrology. Kakabal taught the constellations. Ezekiel taught the knowledge of clouds. Shamziel and Suriel, sun and moon. Enoch doesn't leave the Watchers anonymous. It names them and assigns each one a specific corruption. Shemihaza, sometimes spelled Semyaza, leads the oath on Mount Hermon. Armoros teaches the release of enchantments, how to undo spells, implying others were teaching how to cast them. Barakagiel teaches astrology. Kokabil teaches the constellations. Ezekiel teaches the signs of the clouds. Shamziel and Suriel are tied to the sun and the moon. Manuscript traditions differ slightly. The Ethiopic text and the older Aramaic fragments from Qumran don't always spell these names the same way, but the pattern is consistent across versions. Each fallen angel is a specialist, and each teaching is framed as knowledge humanity wasn't ready to have. So what do these spirits, the demons, actually do in the text? Enoch describes them as restless because they have no body to return to and no place assigned to them. They afflict people, cause sickness and conflict, and lead humanity toward corruption, not as an occasional temptation, but as their ongoing condition, described almost like a punishment they can't escape. Crucially, the text says they don't need to eat, don't tire, and don't answer to any single authority the way the bound watchers do. They operate on the earth precisely because no one has stopped them yet. Enoch is consistent on one point: none of this is permanent. The bound watchers, Azazel included, are held for a fixed sentence until the day of the consummation of judgment. The demons roaming free get less detail, but the same trajectory. Enoch frames the entire present age as an interval before a final reckoning, not the end state. Whatever these spirits are doing now, according to the text, they're doing it on borrowed time. Here's what makes this more than an obscure footnote. This framework, spirits of the dead giants becoming demons, wandering and hostile until judgment, shows up in Jewish thought around the time of Jesus, and echoes through New Testament language about unclean spirits and demonic affliction, even though the New Testament never names Enoch as its source. Whether or not you take the book as scripture, its ideas about what a demon even is shaped the vocabulary everyone after it was working with. So, the question worth sitting with. Enoch's demons aren't loose because no one tried to stop them. They're loose because the story isn't finished yet. Bound, not gone. What does that change about how you read the rest of it? Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next vault.